Hi, everyone. So before I get to the topic, I'll just tell you a little bit about myself and what we're trying to do. So myself, Sachin, I'm one of the founders of Niki.ai. With Niki, the idea is that we are building a sales girl that you can talk to and buy anything that you want. Right? Just a quick demo of how the product works. So basically, if you want to buy something, you can either text Niki or talk to her using voice. So for example, here, if you ask something like ask Niki to pay a postpaid bill, Niki would remember the defaults of the bill and can actually let you pay it. You can also send write the amount of the payment that you want to do, and right here by talking to Niki, you can kind of complete the entire transaction. And apart from that, what the bot also enables is that for any of the services that we've kind of built, we've built the first of its kind voice control payment, which means that you can actually, during the course of the interaction, you can actually make a payment by just talking to Niki. Apart from that, you don't even need to install any specific app that you use today. For example, if you ask Niki to book an Uber, you don't need an Uber or an Ola app installed. You don't need a Redbus app installed while you want to book a bus. And you can actually carry out an in-depth conversation with Niki. It's the first of its kind contextual conversational engine, which means that whenever you make a query with Niki, Niki will remember the context of the conversation whenever responding, which today most bots kind of lack. If you look at Alexa or if you look at Siri, Cortana, they don't really remember the context of the conversation and therefore cannot carry out extended dialogues. Versus here, for example, when I say, ask Niki that I need a bus and then say make it tomorrow morning, Niki remembers that in the context of the conversation, I want a bus tomorrow in the morning. And there again, you can kind of look at different options and compare and book the best one that you want. You can also talk to Niki in multiple languages. You can talk to Niki in Hindi. For example, here I just query that kal sham ko Hindi movie batao, and Niki kind of understands that and shows you Hindi movie available. It also responds back in Hindi and lets the user kind of interact and make the bookings per se. So this is largely the bot that we've built. But nonetheless, I'll come to the topic at hand, which is about the impact of AI, right? And I understand that we are short on time and you guys are really, really hungry, so I'll kind of keep it short. So talking a little bit about the impact of AI. First, what is an AI, right? So a couple of clarifications what it is not. It is not what you see in sci-fi movies. It is not a robot. Robots are just a container for an AI. It's a mechanical form. And so largely the way we define AI is it's software plus data. If you build a software that can actually learn through the data, that is how you would define an AI. It can exist in any form, and there are different tiers of intelligence available in an AI. There is basic intelligence, there is human intelligence, and then there is super intelligence. And then, so why now? Why do people talk about AI? Why is so much hype around AI in the world today? For the first reason is that there is exponential rise in computational power today. The machines today are capable of doing computations at the speed of humans. Second reason is that we've actually figured out software layers that can actually mimic the human intelligence, right? We've built neural network-based engines. We use, a lot of engines today use deep learning. They use machine learning to kind of, to learn on the data and learn on the fly, right? And effectively, using that data, they can actually make decisions on their own. Now, talking a little bit about the law of accelerating returns. So what we see is that so why we think that that AI is real, and it is now. If you look at it, the pace of human evolution has kind of increased rapidly. The first major discovery that happened was about 350,000 years ago, which was fire, and then hunting was invented, and then agriculture was invented, and then look at the major evolutions. Wheels was invented 5,000 years ago, electricity 250 years, DNA synthesis, DNA analysis was invented 50 years ago, and phones were invented 5 years ago, and they are today one-tap transport is available. They are know-it-all machines. Anything you want to know, you can just ask your phones and it can answer. And the next evolution is definitely going to be AI, and it's going to be soon. Talking a little bit about the current state of an AI is it's really just a basic intelligence. If you, for example, today if you search for anything on Google, it can answer questions that you have. If you, Siri, again, another form of a conversational engine, it handles 1 billion requests a week, which is far beyond any human beings are capable of. Facebook feed today decides which news you should read, right? It automatically personalizes the news basis, what are the typical news articles that you click on, how much time you spend on each and every article, and it automatically decides which news should be shown on your feed because there are billions of articles across the world. And the way it does that is it has intelligently built its own layer of complex sociograph, and it uses that to predict what news would be relevant to any particular user. You talk about Microsoft transcription, it is today better than humans in terms of accuracy that it delivers in transcription. Google Translation, it enables instant multilingual conversations far beyond what humans can, even a real-time translator. Baidu voice recognition, they today have seen that their accuracy rates have increased to more than 95% per se. You talk about spam filter in emails. Today, they are a classic example of an automated learning engine. No data is fed to it. It automatically learns from the clicks that you make, the emails that you report, and so on and so forth. YouTube recommendation, again, it decides if at any point in time you're listening to any particular song, YouTube will automatically decide which song you should listen to next, or which video you should watch next, and it'll automatically transcribe the audio as well. Uber, it's a system that manages the transportations around the world, right? And it is all of this is being managed, automated. Maps, it has become tremendously useful in predicting the driving time in traffic. I mean, it's such a large problem that even humans cannot really answer effectively. I cannot tell that how much time it will take to reach from here to Koramangala, right? Because it's a very dynamic problem. The traffic kind of keeps getting more and more congested, but Google Maps can answer that very, very reliably, and it's increasingly getting better. Driverless cars, drones, assembly lines, there are so many applications that you see of AI today, and it is increasingly becoming real. So what does this mean? A couple of things, the way I see it. We don't have to adopt to machines anymore, right? So for example, the entire discussion around driverless cars, I personally feel that it's a huge utility. It not just will simplify driving, it'll reduce the number of accidents, it'll largely lead to more and more more and more people managing their time more efficiently instead of trying to kind of understand how to really drive and if you really think about it, driving is not really natural to us. We learn how to operate this machine. Similarly, there are computers that are being built which are more natural. They are not click or touch-based interfaces. You can actually talk to a computer. And what does this mean in terms of jobs? When the first evolution really happened, a lot of factory work jobs got automated. And the next revolution, with the revolution of AI, a lot of service jobs will definitely be impacted. But largely, the kind of jobs that will get impacted will be more routine jobs. And similarly, and therefore, as humans, we will be more free to kind of work on more complex and more challenging problems per se. And there are different applications that you see of these of an AI. There are nanny, there are assistants, people are trying to build drivers, concierge, cashiers, and teachers, and so on. Is this necessarily bad? No. Just a few results from the impact of mechanization of labor. In the last 100 years since we started designing automated assembly lines, if you look at it, GDP of the world has kind of grown tremendously. And unemployment rates have consistently stayed steady. And in fact, more and more jobs have been created in absolute terms. Similarly, life expectancy have kind of increased tremendously. Average human age was 48 back in 1950, and today it is 75, right? So definitely it will lead to more productivity and it will lead to better life expectancy of humans as well. So what the future holds, couple of insights that we see is that one superhuman intelligence will definitely solve the world's most daunting problems. It could be anything from solving for global warming, or it could be engineering superhumans. And yeah, I personally am more and more thrilled about what the future will hold, and yeah, and it will definitely create more and more opportunity. So as people, we can just relax on a beach every day, and there will be machines that will work for us and make sure that we get everything that we need. Thank you. Happy to answer any question. Yes. Mhm.
We're talking about conversational AI,
Yes,
as I was
I
mentioning.
heard.
How about the security aspect? Because earlier when you used to talk about e-commerce, people talked about encryption, looking at all those SSLs and all those things wherein security was the focus more than the kind of distribution of data. Now we are focusing more on the extensive distribution of data, availability and so on. So in that case, how does the security perspective come in?
So all conversational agents today, they use end-to-end encryption. So any message that is being sent to a system is not really cannot really be intercepted by any other hackers. And I think the same elements of security still applies even in conversational agents.
Something like what we had, the triple DES and all those things, like we had the
Everything
120.
is applicable. So for
So
example,
it's
if you really think about it, even when I send a message to a bot, that message is actually communicated using the same protocols of HTTP, and therefore it is going to be equally secure.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much for the time. Thank you, everyone.
Thanks, Sachin.